There is a person in almost every workplace who seems, on the surface, to have it all figured out. They walk into a room and the energy shifts. People lean in when they speak. Their confidence feels magnetic. Their words feel carefully chosen, and their smile feels like a privilege to receive. Colleagues trust them quickly. Managers praise them openly. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you find yourself wondering what it is about them that draws everyone in so effortlessly. But here is what most people never stop to ask. What lies beneath that charm? What is the engine running behind that perfectly constructed personality? Because here is the uncomfortable truth that psychology has been warning us about for decades. The most dangerous person in your office is rarely the one who shouts, threatens, or makes their ambitions obvious. The most dangerous person is the one who makes you feel safe. The one who listens to your frustrations, mirrors your values, and slowly, quietly, begins to use everything you have shared against you. You have probably felt it before. That strange, disorienting moment when something goes wrong at work and somehow, despite all the evidence pointing elsewhere, you are the one left holding the blame. Or the moment you realize that a colleague you trusted has been subtly reframing your contributions to others, taking credit so naturally that even you begin to doubt your own memory of events. Or the slow creeping sense that you're being left out of conversations, decisions, and alliances that you once had access to, without anyone ever explicitly telling you why. These experiences are not random. They are not office politics or bad luck or personality clashes. They are the result of a deliberate, psychologically calculated strategy executed by individuals who have mastered the art of manipulation long before they ever walked through your company's front door. Research has consistently found that psychopathic traits are significantly more prevalent in corporate leadership than in the general population, with some studies estimating that up to 12% of senior corporate leaders display a measurable range of psychopathic characteristics, making it up to 12 times more common than in the wider population. That means the higher you climb, the more likely you are to encounter someone who has built their entire career on a foundation of psychological warfare. And if you do not know what you are looking at, you will not see it coming. This video exists to change that. Because awareness is not just knowledge, it is armor. So what does this actually look like in practice? Imagine a colleague. Let us call them the architect of chaos. They're not loud. They're not aggressive. In fact, they are often the most composed person in the room during a crisis. What you do not realize is that they engineered the crisis themselves. Research into corporate psychopathy describes a tactic known as manufactured chaos, the deliberate introduction of confusion, conflict, or instability within a team, designed to disorient colleagues and position the manipulator as the calm, capable problem solver that leadership cannot afford to lose. While everyone around them is scrambling, they're being seen as steady, strategic, and indispensable. But the chaos never truly ends because they keep feeding it. Another weapon in their arsenal is strategic charm, a form of calculated warmth that is deployed selectively and purposefully. They study people. They notice who craves validation, who fears conflict, and who is desperate to be liked. And they give each person exactly what they need to feel comfortable, to open up, and to lower their guard. This is not genuine connection. It is social engineering. Then comes the scapegoating. When a project fails or an error surfaces, the corporate psychopath has already built a narrative weeks in advance that points the finger squarely at someone else. They do this not through outright lies alone, but through selective omissions, strategic framing, and the quiet poisoning of perceptions. They mention your name in the wrong conversations, in the wrong tone, at the wrong moments. And because they have already established themselves as trustworthy, credible, and well-liked, their version of events is rarely questioned. One study found that 1% of corporate psychopaths within organizations accounted for 26% of all workplace bullying, not through obvious aggression, but through this invisible, psychologically precise form of manipulation. Perhaps most insidiously, they use isolation as a tool. They subtly create distance between you and your allies. A misunderstood comment here, a cancelled meeting there, a carefully worded suggestion to leadership that perhaps you work better independently. Before you fully understand what is happening, your support network has quietly eroded, and you are left navigating a hostile environment alone. This is not accidental. It is architectural, and it is designed to make you easier to control, easier to discredit, and easier to discard. But here is where this story changes, because the moment you understand the architecture, the building loses its power over you. Psychological manipulation of this kind depends entirely on one thing: your unawareness. The moment you begin to see the patterns clearly, the tactics begin to lose their grip. The first and most powerful step is what psychologists call emotional detachment. The conscious decision to stop allowing your sense of identity, value, and security to be shaped by the environment a manipulator has constructed around you. This does not mean becoming cold or disengaged from your work. It means building an internal anchor that cannot be moved by external chaos. The second step is documentation: quiet, consistent, and deliberate. Corporate psychopaths thrive in the gray areas of memory and perception. When you document your contributions, your conversations, your decisions, and your results with timestamps and clarity, you remove the ambiguity they depend on. You create a record of reality that cannot be rewritten. The third step is alliance building, not as a defensive reaction, but as a proactive investment in genuine professional relationships. Authentic connections with colleagues, mentors, and leaders create a web of credibility around you that is extraordinarily difficult to unravel through whisper campaigns and selective storytelling. And finally, there is the most profound step of all: the cultivation of self-awareness. Ask yourself honestly, have you been operating on autopilot at work, trusting by default, sharing too freely, and assuming that goodwill is always mutual? Most people have. And that is not a flaw. It is a deeply human instinct. But in environments where not everyone operates with conscience, that instinct must be tempered by discernment. You can remain open-hearted and still be psychologically sharp. You can remain collaborative and still maintain boundaries. True empowerment is not the absence of trust. It is the wisdom to know where and in whom that trust is well placed. The office is not a battlefield, but for those who treat it as one, it pays to understand the rules of the game, not so that you can play it, but so that you never again become a piece on someone else's board. If you're benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.